Yeah. And listen, I would really appreciate if you guys on the east side and the southwest side would go get yourself a Built Bar, because I don't really like you jamming up my gym space. So yeah, get a Built Bar. That way you won't have to be in the gym as often. Yeah. PSA for your girl.
All
Thanks.
right. All right. Got a
Now,
little personal there. All
yeah,
right.
triggered. Sure am.
Of
Yeah. So
course.
go get a Built Bar, and that way I can get my workout on. Please and thank you. But speaking of workouts, off-season activities and workouts continue in the branch. Of course, we
Indeed.
know that rookie mini camp was last week, and now we got the veterans back in the building. And Jarvis, you had an opportunity to get out to Flowery Branch yesterday. So I wanted to know just some quick insights from you, some quick observations with the opportunity for you to see up close both those rookies, but also some of the new guys who are in camp for the Falcons this season.
Obviously, Calais Campbell, because, like, for me, like, I'm used to seeing big people because, hey, I've been 6'5", 330 pounds all my doggone life. So, like, I'm not too taken aback by, big people because, that was the big thing yesterday. But, however, like, when you got a chance to walk up on the man, Calais Campbell, like, that dude ain't small at all. Like, the man is a big man. And I think that, he's the type of guy that, like, you could tell he's a veteran. He's a guy that's super insightful, a student of the game. And you got to love guys like that. If you really a big fan of football, like the nuts and bolts of it, like, you're going to really like a guy like Calais Campbell. And all he has to do is just perform on the field. You know what I mean? Because, hey, that's kind of where we are right there with this team. Because I think that he was a good guy to talk to and get some insight from. Because I think that when I asked him about, just the whole rotation thing and, the multiple type defenses, because that was really my thing yesterday, trying to look at who they had out there in different formations and different they weren't even doing like third downs and situation like that, but just line up against the offense, kind of see who's out there. So I think that, with Ryan Nielsen as the defense coordinator of this squad, I really feel like he's going to be tested early on, and that's going to be, and the test is it's going to figure out what this rotation looks like, who's going to be in on what down, because do you have Lorenzo Carter in? Do you have Arne in on third and long? Or does D'Angelo Malone come in at stand-up linebacker in that nickel spot? And for Troy Anderson from time to time, like, how does that work? And I think that figuring out this rotation is going to be something that I feel like is going to be very crucial for the Atlanta Falcons early on, because, like I said, at the end of the day, guys gonna shine, and then by the midseason, you'll know who's gonna be in there. But I think how you start and who you put in from the get-go, that's going to be very important for Nielsen going forward as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point, because Ryan Nielsen is new, and 6 of the 11 guys that he'll be working with as the projected starters, that is, they're
Yes.
new as well. So when I think about where my eyes will be when I get an opportunity to see those guys up front and personal next week, I'll be paying a lot of attention to the defense as well, because again, if you have 6 out of 11 starters who weren't with this organization, this franchise last season, and 2, this is only their second time with the second year rather with the Falcons, and their first year under Ryan Nielsen, to me, that's really where the eyes should be in terms of the side of the football where you may have the most questions to answer. So in addition to having new players, have your defense that are projected starters are brand new, it's also seeing within those 6, what are they actually going to bring to the table? Like you said, with Calais Campbell, how much will we really see him play? Like, what are the percentages? What are the situations that he'll be put in? David Onyemata, is he finally going to be that guy that is going to be right alongside Grady Jarrett and really kind of wreaking havoc up front? Does he finally get that? You look at Caden Ellis and it's like, okay, got some better help at linebacker, but how good is better? And I think about Jesse Bates. When you pay that much money to get that guy, he absolutely, positively better deliver. And then Jeff Okudah is someone who you're looking at as the possible opportunity to show that, hey, he can be that guy who was drafted in the top 5
Yeah.
by the
3
Lions.
overall. Yeah.
Exactly. Number 3, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see a guy in Jeff Okudah whom you're hoping can get back to that status with maybe health, maybe some better players around him, maybe some better coaching. But yeah, Jarvis, if it's me, I'm thinking I'm with you. I'm asking Calais Campbell the questions, because that's where I think the opportunity to improve the most and the questions to be answered the most are on that side of the ball.
Absolutely. I'm with you because, and here's another question. Here's another thing. I got a chance to talk to Troy Anderson yesterday as well, because like, let's just hypothetical. Let's throw a hypothetical at you right here. If Dean Pease was still here, phew, oh my goodness. Like I would be so comfortable with the all last year. And those you don't understand what I mean, he made lemons out of lemon. He made lemonade out of lemons. You know what I mean? Like he squeezed all the juice that he could out of that roster, that talent that was on that roster last year. So for him to be able to come into a year where he's truly upgraded, damn near at every position
Yeah.
on out of that starting 11, I think that, I wouldn't be too concerned. But like you said, you got a guy who's going to be calling plays for the first time. Like I know he was a co-defensive coordinator. Talked to my guy Ross Jackson, but he did not call plays. Dennis Allen called plays last year. He just had the title or whatever. So of course he comes up with the game plans, but it's different when you sit in that seat. When you move one seat over and start calling plays, coming up with the game plans and calling plays on Sunday is just a different beast. So I think that with all of these new additions, with this new defensive coordinator, I'm not concerned, but like I said, I am definitely going to keep an eye on these guys, especially when they opened up against the Carolina Panthers in a divisional game.
Yeah, and in addition to a new coordinator who's both the new DC for the Falcons and a new DC overall, half your squad that is projected to be starters, half of them are brand new to your franchise as well. Another third of them are just second-year players who are now on their second defensive coordinator. You also have those little pieces in play where you and I and many have had questions like, okay, what are we going to see out of Taquan Graham? Are we going to be able to see him stay on the field and be productive? Richie Grant, same thing. And then you're looking at somebody like Arnold Ebiketie and you're like, okay, are we going to see AK do what we thought he could do? Are we going to see AK things? But I also think I lean to the defense because of the stability on offense, right? You do
Right.
have
Yeah.
Arthur Smith and Dave are going that 1-2 punch back again. And you do have them with multiple weapons that they've already had familiarity with, and weapons like Desmond Ridder and Drake London. And to the extent that he could, of course, just off the field, Kyle Pitts, but all of that continuity for them, Cordero Patterson, there's just so much continuity on
Yeah,
the
they
offense.
loaded.
I feel more
Yeah.
confident that they're going to produce and that they have nowhere else to go but up. And I say that in a positive way. That's a compliment to them because I thought that they had weapons last year, but I still feel like on some level we saw some overachievement because we didn't expect that out of Tyler Algier. We didn't expect
Mm-mm.
that out of CP, but we
Not at
got it.
all.
So I'm still really more confident that they're going to show improve and have a few less question marks. But speaking of the offensive side of the ball, I know that there was an interesting comment that came out of Flowery yesterday from our guy Drake London, where there was a question around the concept of positionless football. And it's very interesting because that's a concept that in a basketball space we've heard for the last several years, that you have players who can go from the 1 to the 5. But when you start talking about positionless football, kind of heard that comment thrown around last year. I think you, as well as I, thought that's a very interesting concept. But that said, the Falcons might be one of the teams that is best equipped to be a positionless offense.
And I agree, because here's the thing. A lot of times, when Arthur Smith first came in, I kind of, I like to kind of watch the formation, how they start games and everything like that, and kind of look at how he's kind of set, defenses up, so to speak. I really feel like that's kind of his sticking point. Like that's kind of like his mantra. Like he wants to dictate defensive coverages by the type of formation that he throws at. Because, like, if you're running Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Mac Hollins, and you have Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, in a certain specific formation, like it's gonna be hard for a defense to look at that personnel and be like, okay, what are we gonna do here? Like, are you gonna come out at 12 personnel, or how are you gonna do this? So, and where is Bijan Robinson going to be lined up? So, and I think that's the point of what I feel like Drake was trying to make, because I asked him the question about having all these weapons and all that thing, all of those things, and kind of what the expectations are coming into the season. And when you think about that from a defense coordinator standpoint, that's gonna be tough. Like and at the end of the day, it's really all gonna fall on Desmond Ridder to maybe just make sure all you gotta do is just get everybody the rock. Like, get the rock and don't turn it over. I feel like they're going to be able to, give everybody that comfort and peace that we have right now because of what they've established. And, they got the same people coming back, calling plays and everything like that. I feel like the whole positionless football piece is just for essentially it's just like, all right, we're going to be able to throw a whole bunch of formations at you. That's all that is.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that concept. And also, Tyler Algier talked about his excitement with the opportunity to play with a guy like Bijan because he feels like he can learn from him. And that takes it back to a question that I asked Bijan when we had an opportunity to meet him. Just had he had a chance to speak with the veterans and what was the conversation like? And he talked about FaceTiming with Tyler and how they both are like, man, I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm looking forward to working with you because there's something that we can bring to the table as a 1-2 punch. And like you said, you can legit line up the 1-2 punch however you so choose and actually get productivity out of them. So I think that, again, it's going to be very intriguing and it's going to be quite a job for those defensive coordinators to figure out, okay, what is it that they're going to run? Heck, they can, like you said, they can run 12, 13 personnel if they feel like it, because you do have a Jonnu Smith. And so you can do all sorts of things, even with the tight end room that maybe a lot of teams don't have. So continue to see, just not only know that the versatility is there on paper, but the fact that these guys are embracing that, hey, I'm going to be expected to do more than just what the position is listed as for me on the depth chart. I think advantage Falcons. So yeah, love to see it. But what do you guys think about that, everydayers? Are you excited about the concept of positionless football and the possibility of that giving the Falcons an advantage against defenses in this next season? Are you excited about this defense, or do you have questions about them? And if so, where do your questions come from? Is it having a DC who's never been officially the DC? Is it the fact that more than half of that defense is a new look defense for the Falcons? Let us know. Check us out on YouTube like you always do. Drop it in the comments. And if you got a good one for us, we're going to bring it up on ATL day ones. And of course, listen, I've got a lot of driving to do today. I got to go up north to John Creek's east side to Athens and back down to Atlanta. So if you got driving like that, go on and download our podcast wherever you downloaded your podcast, because then you can listen and have a wonderful drive all around Atlanta Metro.